Welcome to Mark Medley's Everything Disney.
Well, Jumbo everybody, my name is Brittany. I'm going to be your safari guide here today throughout the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now guys, we're going to see a lot of animals and take a lot of really great pictures. Make sure you are hanging on to your valuables tightly though. It is going to get bumpy out there and I can't stop for anything that falls off the truck, including you guys. So the number one most important rule out there today is to make sure that everyone remains fully seated at all times, even if the truck is stopped. Alright, now guys, we're entering the reserve here through the Little Aturi Forest. This is a heavily wooded area. The animals here are great at camouflage, so keep those eyes peeled. Now over on our right hand side, there is a brown animal with striped legs. That is the okapi. Now a lot of people think that they are related to zebras, but they're actually the only known relative of the giraffe. We know that they're related to giraffe because of the little horns on top of their head called ossicones. Now they're really shy and reclusive creatures though. They weren't discovered by the Western world until 1901, so we've only known about them for a relatively short amount of time. Now it looks like there are a few more animals up ahead. So you come around this turn here, look over to your right hand side. You're going to see a tan animal. That's the greater kudu. They're the second tallest antelope here in Africa. They can reach heights of 5 feet. Also on our right, those orange animals are bongos. They're known as the ghosts of the forest because they're rarely seen. They're also critically endangered, so it's really cool to see them out here today. Now over on our left-hand side, if you look just between, behind that big tree there, in between the rocks and the rock wall, there's a black rhino. Now black rhinos are pretty big animals. They can weigh up to about 3,000 pounds. You don't want to let that big size fool you though. They can charge at 35 miles an hour. Now they are typically solitary animals though. They only come out to socialize at night, normally down by the water. Now guys, while we're lucky to see all these animals out here today, we are extremely lucky to see that black rhino. There are less than 5,000 black rhinos left in the entire world. They are being poached for their horns, which is really sad because their horns are just made out of keratin. If keratin sounds familiar to you, that's because it's the same exact stuff that makes up our hair and fingernails. Alright, now guys, we are heading on down to the Safi River. Now keep your eyes out for hippos. The word hippopotamus translates to river horse, so this is the perfect place to find them. Now hippos travel in a group, and a group of hippos is known as a bloat. Each hippo can weigh up to about 5,500 pounds, so they're pretty hard to miss. Ooh, and you know what? It looks like there's a hippo just over here on our right hand side. Now, a lot of people think that hippos swim through the river, but they don't. They kind of sink like a rock down to the bottom of the river and they walk across it. They can hold their breath for around 8 minutes at a time. Now, the white and gray birds over on our left-hand side are pink-backed pelicans. They get their name because they turn a shade of pink during mating season. But since hippos do walk across the bottom of the river, let's head on down to the shallows and try to get a better view down there. Uh-oh. Hold on a second, guys. Hey, buddy, take a seat for me. Thank you. Now, those aren't hippos over there on our left-hand side. Those are Nile crocodiles. Now, Nile crocodiles, they can be as long as giraffes are tall. So it's anywhere from 16 to 20 feet. They can also eat half of their body weight in one meal. And I don't trust this bridge enough to find out if they're hungry. So let's get out of here. check out a completely different ecosystem. You never really know what interesting things we might find down there. Ooh, and you know what, guys? Speaking of different, we're coming up on a baobab tree here on our right-hand side. Now, baobab trees are nicknamed the upside-down tree because it kind of looks like they're planted upside down with their roots up towards the sky. That's normal, though. They're just leafless for 9 months out of the year. Now, we're entering my favorite part of the reserve here. This is the Serengeti grasslands. Lots of animals will travel through here every single day to migrate. This is home to some of the famous African animals like giraffes, elephants, cheetahs, lions, and zebras. So let's see who we can find here today. Oh, now you know what, guys? It looks like we're going to see a giraffe over here on our right-hand side. Now, it's no surprise we see giraffes here in the grasslands, though. This is the perfect place for them to be because they eat a lot. There's a lot of food here for them. So giraffes will spend about 20 hours of the day eating. In that time, they'll eat about 75 pounds of food. Now, eating for 20 hours, though, doesn't really leave them much time to do anything else. They only sleep for a total of 30 minutes. Now, they don't even sleep those 30 minutes in one nap. They take a bunch of little power naps throughout the day that equal up to about 30 minutes. There are 9 subspecies of giraffes, so as we pull around again, I'll point them out and let you know what kind we're looking at. Now, if you look to our left-hand side, you might have to look back over your left shoulder. Laying down on the hill there are some African wild dogs. Now, they might look cute and cuddly, but African wild dogs are the most successful predators here in Africa. They'll catch their prey anywhere from 80 to 90% of the time. They do that by chasing their prey down until they drop from exhaustion. So if you do want to give them a hug, wait till you get to a gift shop. Now, over on our left-hand side, you're going to see those dark brown antelope, and those are sable antelope. They're the official emblem here at the Harambe Wildlife Reserve because they're really protective of their young. So while their young are eating or sleeping, the adults will form a circle around them facing outwards, ready to fight off predators who might try to come by. Now, these big cone-shaped mounds that we're passing here are termite mounds. They're made up of dung, dirt, and termite saliva. They sit in the sun all day long and bake till they're as hard as concrete. Big animals like the elephant will come by and use them as a scratching post. And eventually, over time, they wear down like the one on our right-hand side. That makes them perfect for smaller animals like meerkat or small antelope. They'll actually stand on top of the mounds. That gives them a great view of any predators hiding out in the tall grass. Now, it looks like we'll see another giraffe here on our right-hand side. That's a Maasai giraffe. You could tell by looking at their spots. They have more of a jagged pattern to those spots. If you took a look at the top of their head, you'll notice those little horns that they have. Those are their ossicones. That's what they share in common with the okapi we saw at the very beginning of our safari. It looks like there's a few animals up ahead here. If you look to your right-hand side, just in between the clearing, looks like there are some white-bearded wildebeest. When they migrate, they travel in groups up to 1.5 million. They're also known as the new for the sound they make. So, like a cow says moo, white-bearded wildebeest say new. Also on our right at the top of the hill, those small tan antelope are springbok. They're only 3 feet tall, but they can jump 6 feet in the air and 13 feet forward. That's called pronking. Now, there's a few more giraffes here. Now, giraffes, they have really long necks, but they only have 7 vertebrae in their necks. That is the same amount that we have. Theirs are just a whole lot bigger than ours are. Now, on top of having really long necks, giraffes also have really long tongues. A giraffe's tongue is about 18 inches long. That's 1.5 feet. Their tongues aren't pink, and that's because they spend so much time eating that if their tongues were pink, they would get too easily sunburned. So instead, they're a dark purple color. Okay, guys, we've had great luck here so far, but we're going to take a quick little detour here through Monkey Point. Now, we call it Monkey Point because we've spotted mandrills there before. They're the largest species of monkey. Since they're monkeys, though, they are really good at hiding in the trees. So if you guys see them and I don't point them out, just let me know where they are. We can show the rest of the truck. Now, if you look over to your left, just between the bush all the way on the left-hand side of those rocks, there was a mandrill walking around there. They are the largest species of monkey. They can weigh up to 100 pounds. They have brightly colored faces. The more dominant that the male is, the more brightly colored he'll be. Now, let's head on around this way, though. I know of a pretty cool shortcut we can take and hopefully see some elephants. Uh-oh. I guess it looks like that shortcut is closed. But look over on your right-hand side. There's an elephant over there. Now, that is a male elephant. We can tell because he's here by himself. So the females and the calves, they're the ones that stick together and make up the herd. Once the males are considered an adult, that's around age 13, they'll go off on their own. Okay, something that I have learned from giving all of these safaris is that when you can find a male elephant, that typically means the females aren't too far away. So I'm hoping if we head down this way, we might have some luck finding a herd. Guys, there are some red clay pits on either side of the truck, and elephants love to eat the red clay. It gives them extra vitamins they don't normally find in their diet. If you look to your right, you'll see tusk marks and footprints. That's a pretty good sign. Now guys, elephants are facing a huge problem right now. They're losing a lot of their natural habitat to humans. That's causing them to go out onto farmers' farms, eat their crops, and maybe destroy the rest. The farmers haven't been too happy about that. They've been hurting the elephants. But recently in Kenya, we did discover that elephants are afraid of bees. So farmers have been planting kind of like bee fences around their farms. What that does is it keeps the elephants out, which also keeps them safe. Keeps the farmers happy because they have their crops. Plus they can sell any of the honey the bees have been making. So it's kind of like a win-win for everyone. Now, if you take a look around, you'll notice there are some more baobab trees. They're also known as the Tree of Life. That's because they hold hundreds of gallons of water inside them. During times of drought, animals like the elephant will come by, poke a big hole in the tree, and drink the water from inside. Now, they do that using their tusks, and unfortunately, elephants are still being poached for their ivory tusks. Every single day, we lose 96 elephants due to poaching alone. That averages to 1 elephant every 15 minutes, which is absolutely heartbreaking, guys. Their tusks are just overgrown teeth. Now, it looks like there are some greater flamingos here on our left-hand side. Greater flamingos are the largest species of flamingo, but they're also the palest pink. Now, they're actually born gray. They turn pink from the food they eat, like shrimp, which is loaded with beta-carotene. That's what turns them that pretty pink color. And a group of flamingos, well, they're known as a flamboyance.
You knew that.
Alright, now guys, we're heading on into white rhino territory. But don't worry, just because it's called white rhino territory doesn't mean that those are the only animals we're going to find. We do still have a lot of the reserve left here to explore, so guys, let's get to it. I don't see white rhinos just yet, but there is a fresh mud pit over on our left-hand side, and white rhinos love the mud. They roll around in it. That creates a natural sunblock for them, and it also helps protect them from parasites. So it is pretty important. Hopefully they're not too far away. Oh, you know what? I just saw something moving over here. It's over on our left-hand side. Let's see if we can find it again. Alright, it actually looks like a cheetah. It looks like there's 2 of them over here. One's all the way far at the left side of the hill. It's now walking towards us. There's one all the way at the far right of the hill here too.
9 o'clock.
Now cheetahs, they're the fastest land animals. They can reach speeds on average of about 60 miles an hour. But guys, they can only run that fast though for a really short amount of time. So they often lose their prey to bigger predators like their cousin, the lion. Oh, and you know what, guys? Speaking of lions, we're coming up on a copy rock formation up ahead here. And lions love these rocks. It actually looks like there's a huge male just at the very edge of the rock, so we'll pull around there. Now, lions love these rocks. They'll lay on top of them, which gives them a great view of animals crossing by. Plus, it's also a pretty great place to take a nap. And lions love to sleep. They're inactive for about 20 hours of the day. They're only active for 4 hours. That's at nighttime. That's when they go out and do all of their hunting. Now, the females, they're actually the ones who do the hunting, though. The males stay home and watch over the cubs. Now, guys, if you do ever want to say the word lion in Swahili, it's really easy. It's Simba.
Who's that?
Now, the reason that lions do their hunting at night is because during the day, they have roughly the same eyesight as us, but at nighttime, their eyesight is about 6 times better than ours. And if you are ever lucky enough to hear a lion roar, that means that you're somewhere within a 5-mile radius of that lion.
They're majestic.
Yeah, they are.
We're gonna stop here just for a second. I'm gonna wait for the truck in front of us. It looks like it was momentarily stopped for an animal on the road.
The big old kitty.
Alright, now guys, you know what it looks like? There are some warthogs here on our left-hand side. Now, warthogs have razor-sharp tusks. They use their tusks to help build their burrows. And at the end of the night, they'll back into their burrows with their tusks exposed. That scares off predators who might try to come by while they're sleeping. And it looks like it was actually some white rhinos blocking the truck just in front of us. So we'll get a pretty good view of them. Now, white rhinos, they're way bigger than black rhinos. Black rhinos are 3,000 pounds. White rhinos can weigh up to 5,000 pounds. Even with that 2,000-pound difference, though, they can still charge at the same 35 miles an hour. Now, white rhinos, they're not white. They get their name from a mistranslation of the word fight, which means wide. They have a wide upper lip and mouth. Now, you'll see zebras here on our left, and they're actually black with white stripes. We can tell because they have black noses. Each zebra has its own individual stripe pattern though. Just like us and our fingerprints, no two will be the same. They have a hind kick powerful enough to break the jaws of an attacking lion. I don't know if you guys saw though, but back by the white rhinos, there were some eggs on the ground there, and those are ostrich eggs. Now, ostrich eggs are pretty big. You can fit about 1 dozen to 2 dozen chicken eggs inside of one ostrich egg. And the shell is so tough, you could stand on top of it and it wouldn't even crack. Guys, I don't suggest doing that though. You don't want to mess with a mama ostrich who can run at 40 miles an hour when this truck only goes 8. Now, over on our right-hand side, you're going to see these big white birds here. These are yellow-billed storks. Now, they get their name, well, because they have yellow bills and they're storks. They're what we call opportunistic feeders. Basically, what that means is they'll eat anything they can find whenever they can find it. And a lot of the times, that does include other smaller birds. Alright, well guys, you know what? We had some awesome luck out there today. We saw lots of animals, and I hope you guys all saw your favorite. But if you didn't, don't worry, you can head on over to Gorilla Falls. Now over there, they have a bunch of really cool African animals we didn't get to see today, like meerkats, naked mole rats, some pretty cool reptiles and birds, and you guessed it, you can find western lowland gorillas. You'll be able to find some animals we were fortunate enough to see today too, just like the okapi, the zebra. There's an underwater viewing area of the hippo. It's a really cool place. You should definitely check it out if you do have the time. But my friends, time really does fly when you're having fun. We are headed off the reserve and back to the warden post. I hope you guys enjoyed your safari here today. I certainly enjoyed having you. Again, my name is Brittany. No two safaris are ever the same. We do have the animals to thank for that. So guys, come on back and visit us anytime. Do me a favor though, go ahead, double and triple check your rows. Please make sure that you do have all of your belongings with you. It did get pretty bumpy out there, and you'd be surprised what could fall out of your pockets. So make sure you don't leave anything behind. Now guys, we're just gonna hang out here for one moment. We've got to wait for the truck in front of us to go ahead and finish unloading, and then it'll be our turn. Now, if I had any wilderness explorers on board, you were riding the Simba 1. That's S-I-M-B-A, then the number 1. Alright, now my friends, here in Harambe, we really don't like to say goodbye. Goodbyes are far too sad and they're far too final. So instead of goodbye, we say Kwaherini, which means go well. So Kwaherini, my friends, go well, go wild. Don't go too wild. It's a family jump out
let's give
there.
that airborne one a call. Airborne one, this is Simba 1. Do you copy?
Simba 1. This is Warden Wilson Lukua. Over.
Jumbo Wilson, me and a couple friends are entering in the Little Lich Rainforest. Over.
I'm Jumbo, Simba 1. Keep your eyes open and drive carefully.
This has been a Rockanium production.